Please welcome Vice President of Homes and Villas by Marriott Bonvoy for Marriott International, Jennifer Hsieh, in discussion with Skift Senior Hospitality Editor, Sean O'Neill.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, everybody. It's great to be here.
Good to have you here. Jennifer is one of the rising star executives at the world's largest hospitality company, and we are delighted to have you here.
Thank you.
If you have questions about Homes and Villas by Marriott International, please put them in the app, and we'll get to them later in our conversation. I would like to start first, Jennifer, about demand, because that's something that came up in Dennis's conversation with Carl, and then Seth Borko from Skift Research was talking about sort of a myth about fatigue for consumers in vacation rentals. So what is it that you're seeing at Homes and Villas by Marriott International?
So maybe just to reground everyone, Homes and Villas specializes in specifically whole home rentals in the premium and luxury segment. And we are a global business. And so we have been very enthused about growth this past year. We've seen anywhere between 25 to 30% year-over-year growth on our reservations from last year. Now that's coming off some pretty strong years in 2022 and 2023. One of the things that we are seeing, though, is this shift. And so just a couple of data points for you. In 2021, this is about a year after the pandemic started, we saw about 14% of our business be for international reservations. Year to date so far, we're at 38%.
38%
of our reservations are for international destinations. So that includes international travelers who are staying in international countries, or it could be U.S. travelers going to the international base of the business. So we've been really actually pleased with the continued strength of not only U.S.-based business, but also growth in our international-based business.
And so that includes sort of Americans traveling abroad.
Americans traveling abroad, and I think certainly we've had lots of really situations internationally where the dollar is strong, and so whether it's traveling to Asia Pacific or Europe, we are seeing consumers really get more comfortable with going international.
And what are some of the countries that are particularly popular?
Yeah. We've looked at this data year over year, and the classics still are very popular. So if you're planning to go to Italy, France, the UK, or Spain, it's going to be a busy summer for you this year. And so those tend to be really strong. And as we continue to grow our international footprint, we're seeing growth in some of the maybe less traditionally popular destinations. Specifically, the countries tend to be fairly consistent, but the destinations within those countries. And so for Greece, 3 years ago, people were going to Santorini, but now they're heading over to Paros. And so when you used to go to St. Martin, now you're going to Curacao. And so the beauty of the vacation rental industry is you can have incredible distribution in these small and burgeoning destinations, and our job is to find those places for you.
Cool. We'll get back a little bit about to your strategy and filling out the map in a little bit. But when we were last here in New York together, it was a year ago. We're very grateful you're coming back again. Thank you. And you had told us that you had 115,000 listings back then. So where are you now?
We're at nearly 160,000 homes around the world.
So 160,000, that I feel like it's a little bit of news sharing that here, so thank you. And so that, as back of the envelope, it's about 40% gain. So that, and if only being a brand for 5 years, to still be having double-digit,
growth. I mean, that's important for us. I think when we really think of ourselves as a startup within the world's largest hotel company. And so when we started, it was really about the fundamentals, right? Which is, let's make sure we have a great set of standards so the homes that we bring on our platform are really strong for our guests. Let's make sure our platform is working really effectively so people can book homes that meet their needs. Let's make sure the guest experience is phenomenal. And so that has been, really fundamental in building the right foundation. And now we're riding the growth wave, which is how do we become much more strategic about where our Bonvoy members want to travel to, and then how do we make sure we're growing inventory there where they know they want to go, but also creating these hidden gem places where we think they want to go.
Cool. Well, let's build on that, because I know you would like to talk about your new product, so to speak, curated collection.
That's right.
So what is that?
So, oh, good. You guys are getting some of these visuals. Okay. So, you know, as we grow our platform, one of the biggest things for us is helping consumers find their next jaw-dropping or wonderful vacation. And we have solved this in a couple different ways. We'll talk a little bit about our generative AI venture. But the first way that we were going to start it is extremely analog. We talked to our partners, our guests, and we looked at the passion points of our Bonvoy members, and we said, how do we put together the most compelling set of inspirational homes that meet a guest need? And so we have put together a hand-picked selection of curated collections that really, when a customer looks at this, when a guest looks at it, says, oh my gosh, I want to take my kids on vacation, and this home becomes the absolute destination. So
I want the home by Zen. That's what I want.
You need the meditation dome. Anyways, and so people travel to either decompress or to get jaw-dropping Instagram-worthy photos at their destination or to make their kids happy. And so we have worked carefully to curate the best product. And this is for customers who are completely open. They say, I want this type of experience. What homes do you have around the world that will get me to the invisible house in Joshua Tree, or a home with an epic pool? And so these are hand curated, and we know for a fact that these are great operating partners. The homes are in great shape, and it meets the needs of what hopefully will be a lifelong kind of set of memories on travel.
That's interesting. That builds a little bit on what Carl was talking about with Dennis, which was that there's been a shift. 5-10 years ago, consumers might be much more willing to roll with it if they go to vacation rental and things are not exactly how they want, but now there is an expectation of standards. They're interested in getting an experience, like that's the Instagram image they have, and they're expecting to get it. And so that plays into you have a very curated, professionalized.
That's right. Although I would probably take a slightly different view on this, which is not all. The origins of the vacation rental industry may be in the quirky, the unique. Every house is a little bit different. But what I think has shifted is the consumers don't want standardization in the home product design or style or amenities even. What they want is consistency and cleanliness, safety, and security. And so we celebrate the diversity of the products that are on our platform, and every home should absolutely be featured for what makes it unique. But we also insist that the fundamentals on safety, security, and cleanliness are there. And so it's okay to have a great quirky home in the middle of Gatlinburg. It's not okay if you're in the middle of the woods and there's not a smoke detector there, right? And so it's about a balance. And so while we're continuing to celebrate what makes every home unique, we are helping customers make the better match with new experiences like generative AI.
Oh, so that's an important point. Not standardization, but consistency, security, and
that's right.
And so curated collections gives, for people who, that is one way for doing search in a way of sort of surfacing interesting properties. Another is taking advantage of generative AI. We had Skift at an event yesterday, which was our data and AI summit, and we featured, I talked with Drew, who was in charge of tech at Marriott, and we also talked with Publicis Sapien, who helped, and they sort of demonstrated this product. I covered travel tech for about a decade, and my colleague Justin has been going through all of the AI efforts that various tech companies are doing. But this is my favorite use case because, for like a vacation rental, I'm booking a vacation rental. We're going in like mid-month, my husband and I, to the Smoky Mountains, and so you can just type in a search, I want to be 10 miles from Dollywood, I got this size dog, I want to have a hot tub, and it's much more a conversation. It seems like a good use case, although you have to see what consumers actually want, I suppose.
Sure. I mean, certainly as we grow our platform to 160,000 homes, it creates more complexity for customers to find that one home and that one match. And so oftentimes I think about what mind state are you as a customer in? Are you in my curated collections mind state, which is I want to knock the socks off my kids and give them the best, vacation, and I'm willing to do that at any home, and I don't have a specific location, to hey, I'm really flexible around this. And I would love to consider multiple destinations. I don't have to be in Gatlinburg. I could be in Sevierville, or I could be in Pigeon Forge.
Right.
All the way down to, I know I want to be in Pigeon Forge, and here are the particulars that I'm looking for. And so Homes and Villas, I really think, is a great way for Marriott International to test and learn. And so oftentimes with new technology like generative AI, we think about, well, first of all, we love to do new things. And we love to test, and we love to iterate with our guests. And so when generative AI came and emerged in the marketplace, we really thought long and hard about the use case for Homes and Villas, and contextually, what does that mean for Marriott overall? And Homes and Villas was the perfect use case. Generative AI, if you think about our base, we have over 95% of our bookings are Bonvoy members. So we have our customer base right here. Generative AI is really helpful in sorting through complex things. And homes are incredibly complex. Every single home is unique, and customers want to know everything from the layout of the beds to how shallow the pool is upon entry in case their toddler is there. And so it is full of details. And so when you apply generative AI, we took a use case that said, let's allow the consumer to use natural language, how you and I would chat, and put that into our search experience. And then we will match you with the perfect destination and the homes within that destination that meet your needs. And so we've taken the work out of a lot of the complexity in searching for home rentals.
Fantastic. So is there, the conversation I'm hearing is a lot about product, being able to surface product. So when you initially began, like 6 years ago, a lot of it was making sure you had places where people want to have their vacation homes, like at Christmas or major holidays and resorts. But now you're having opportunities to sort of get more interesting products. Is there any other like types of products that you're sort of like trying to, any other examples? Or?
Yes, I mean, as we think about the generative AI work, one of the things that we'll be announcing and launching is not only have we grown to 160,000 homes, we're entering new categories. And so later on this month, we're going to be entering the tiny home experience. And so if you happen to be on our site and you are going to be in Australia, we'll be launching over 200 tiny homes. And so for that customer, that need state is, I want to get away, I want to connect with nature, but I only want to drive 2 hours away from Sydney. Now, not only will you get home options, but you'll be able to get away in a tiny home in a fairly remote experience. And so when we build the generative AI tool, it really is about helping customers give us a sense of what they're looking for and then finding the match. And Sean, let me tell you, I've loved seeing the insights that consumers give us on generative AI. I think it's been great because, one, it affirms the type of customer that we have. A lot of family travel. So when you see the curated collections, that really surfaces. A lot of desire to be near water, and a lot of friend experiences. But what happens is with the input through generative AI, we get so much more insight about the depth of the consumer and what they're looking for. And so my favorite example is, because we'll look and study people's input to see what they're looking for to make sure we've got product. And so my favorite one is somebody who typed in, hey, look, I want to go somewhere to golf. I would like to bring my wife and 2 kids. I need to bring my dog because sometimes I like my dog better than my family members. And then I would love a great scene for music at night. And in that one search, they have gone beyond what traditional filters can do. And so what we then do is we surface for you all the destinations and the homes that meet those attributes that you have. But that insight and that depth about that consumer is fantastic for us.
That has to be such a rich mining opportunity for understanding the customer.
It is, and it is informing how we grow our supply. Right? And so as customers begin to tell us the attributes that they're looking for, and oftentimes, water wins in this particular industry. If you're near a river, lake, ocean, that tends to be very, very successful, but it gives us nuances about attributes in the homes that people are looking for. Fire pits have become really, really important for customers. attributes in homes as well as attributes and experiences they want nearby. And so we use a lot of those insights to help us not only grow and connect customers faster to the type of home they want, but also inform our supply.
So can you tell some of your property management partners some of these insights so that they might fine-tune their product?
Absolutely, we do that, but we also share with them what homes are successful with the Bonvoy guests.
Oh,
right? And so as an example, like these set of homes tend to be much more popular and successful on our bookings. And what's interesting is they tell us, that's a very different set of homes than I would sell on any other channel.
Ah, so that's helpful for them to understanding for the channels, like maybe I'll put this inventory here. Interesting. So we have some audience questions, like, so how do you get inventory and how do you manage it to Marriott quality?
You have a very great team of developers and operational leaders. And so that was the fundamentals that we built in the first few years. We have a different business model than most other platforms. We only work with professional property managers. And so in that work with professional property managers, we have a fantastic operations and brand standards team. So the standards that I said to you before, we make sure and we vet these homes to meet those needs. And so a combination of strategic growth in the right markets, having very clear standards and consistency, and then we spend a lot of time working with those property managers to level them up.
Cool. Another question is, how do you view the uniqueness of your supply and overlap with other platforms?
This is a really good question. Our supply collection is very unique in its set. There are some property managers who, because they love the Bonvoy guests, tell us, I do not list on any other platforms other than Marriott and my own. And so we know that we have a consistent set of inventory that is unique. We also work with large property managers who are available across multiple channels. But unlike other channels, we do not accept 100% of the inventory. Every home we review and we make selections based on what we think meet the guest expectations and our criteria. So it's mixed.
So companies like Evolve and Vacasa, you might, we have Evolve on stage later today, you might take some of the inventory.
A portion of the inventory.
And then they exclusively block out time, so Marriott has the exclusive time for a period?
We have as much inventory and availability for any home we select on any other channel. So we are at parity there.
You say you serve the luxury sector. What's the average booking value of your platform? I guess maybe another way of thinking of this is you work with a lot of different property managers. Some are in the luxury tier, some are not in the luxury tier. I mean, a lot of it's relative to the market. So how do you, what's your average?
Our average daily rate hovers around $500 a night.
Okay.
And so the averages can be deceptive, though, right? And so when you take
Pigeon Forge,
that's right. $500 a night, you will be in luxury. And so you'll see this kind of when you take a look at a histogram and look at the median, you will see that there is some heat close to the $300 a night, and then we have some phenomenal once-in-a-lifetime properties that go for several thousand an evening.
Well, I like to mainline the tiny homes show, so I think I'm going to try the tiny homes thing. Jennifer, thank you so much for being here. I enjoyed this conversation.
Thanks, Sean.